What's going on, people? So Sony believes it's 2013 still, and that they're going into this generation like with no competition. I'm sorry, but what the fuck else do you call that? They had an entire conference over some shit any random jerk off can do on PowerPoint. That was their conference. They legitimately Xbox One themselves at the CES. That's what they did here. Anybody with half a brain cell can tell what the next logo for the PlayStation is going to be. PS whatever fucking number. And it doesn't even matter what font you choose, because bitch, at the end of the day, Sony, you are a basic bitch. You are a basic bitch with no creativity, and the little bit of creativity you could have, you jerk off into a sea of potential of nothingness because you are completely, utterly fucking useless. I'm more excited for the Alienware Switch than I am for the PS5. Not because it's a handheld, but because I actually seen the fucking thing. Because Alienware didn't jerk off on stage for 30 minutes talking about a fucking logo. Seriously, what was the point of going to CES with a logo? You couldn't have talked about Godfall. You couldn't have whipped out a PS5. I get it would have probably looked like the developer kit that everyone has. But at least it would have been something. You literally showed up on stage and did nothing. Anyone else feeling that yet? Because I've been saying it this whole fucking generation. Sony is a joke. Well, they're the number one selling console. They were the number one selling console. They're only the number one selling console here. If I'm not mistaken, Nintendo has actually taken Japan and they're on their ass in Europe. So Sony's only number one here. They're not even number one in Japan. Sony, you're dropping the ball big time. You as a company deserve to have your ass kicked just because of the shit you pulled with the Vita. I'm just being honest. Honestly, you probably should refund anybody who purchased the PS4 for the shit you pulled with the PS3. For that hack, for the fact that you have been hacked constantly this generation. It hasn't gotten any better. You decided to add on a pay for online feature when you should have remained free out of everybody. You, of all people, Sony, should have remained free because your games for PlayStation Plus from month in to month out are a fucking shit-stained joke. There's nothing you have released that's even remotely worth fucking playing, because the hype for any game that you, Sony, release is not only dead, it has been long dead years before you ever release it. Years! Oh, but it's not all bad. At least with Sony, you get Call of Duty to release a free game once every 3 years. That's the one thing. And while I have your attention, because I know you're going to be typing in the comments how I'm such a Nintendo fanboy, let me just explain something to you. I'm not saying this because I like Nintendo. I'm saying this because I do like Sony. I have a PS1. I have a PS4. I want to play on the PS4. I like my PS1. I genuinely want to see what's in store for the PS5. Genuinely, because I like video games, right? So it doesn't matter how bad they fuck up. I just want to see if it's worth my money. Excuse me. If it's worth investing into. And every time I turn around, Sony, it's like, don't do it. And the reason I bring up Xbox when I say this part is because Xbox, I truly believe this, but you yourself are a big fucking dumpster fire which somebody needs to shit and piss all over, because you have a lot of great features, but God, if you are not the most idiotic company under the sun with the best fucking features. Uncle Phil, how many times do I have to slap you in the fucking face before you realize RPGs matter? How many times must I slap you in the fucking face before you realize there's other fucking genres than first fucking person shooter games and racing games? I have said this multiple fucking times. No matter how good a system is, if all you fucking offer is first person shooters and racing games, you don't have a system because nobody will buy it. There's a reason the PS Vita lived longer than Sony wanted it to, because fuck you, Sony. It was a RPG haven for fans of RPGs. It has a lot of good RPGs, just like the PSP did. It's very odd how Sony likes to shit all over their handheld market, even though they put RPGs on it and survived solely on RPGs after the first 2 years. It's very odd. But Uncle Phil, you just don't get it. You really don't. You're so busy sucking on that everybody should play on anything they choose to, dick, that you can't even properly set up your own fucking console to be number one in the fucking region you should be number one in, you dumbass. Xbox is in third fucking place. Fuck Japan when it comes to Xbox One sales. They're barely over 1,000, maybe 10,000, I don't know. But they're piss poor. You don't even try to appeal to the American audience, Phil. You really don't. You really only try to appeal to the people who work at Microsoft, if even that. I've said it before. I don't remember which video I said it in, but I know I said it is very hard to be an Xbox fan this generation. And it's still very hard to be an Xbox fan this generation. Xbox should be the number one system in the States. Let me say that one more again for those who are slow. Xbox, which is made by Microsoft, which home base lies here in the USA, should be number one in the States. But because we have a complete incompetent jackass like Uncle Phil, who, yes, he turned around the darn Matrix dumpster fire cum stain that it was, only to kill off Scalebound. By Fable, we knew thee well. Both these are RPGs, Uncle Phil. Both of these spell fuck you at the end because people on Xbox are starved for RPGs. They are starving for a JRPG, a decent JRPG that you can't get on PlayStation, that you can't get on Nintendo. They want exclusive content to buy the system, and you're so hell-bent on kissing Nintendo's nuts and sucking Sony's dick that you haven't even put it together, Uncle Phil. Fuck what they do. Fuck what Nintendo does. Fuck what Sony does. Their home base is in Japan. Tomorrow, Nintendo could tomorrow decide no more Nintendo sales in the States. Sony, no more PlayStation sales in the States. All we're left with is you and your incompetent, stupid ass fucking grin that you go on stage every time and act like you got something positive to say. I don't know why my nose is running. Give me just 1 second. Okay, that's better. But it's facts. It is facts. Xbox, you are the only thing that if Japan pulls productivity of the Nintendo and Sony PlayStations from the States, that's all we have left is Xbox. And Xbox is not going to be able to survive. Because they can't. Xbox cannot survive in the region in which it belongs to. Let that sink in. We are so dependent upon Japan in the States when it comes to this gaming thing that if Japan pulls their gaming support, we're fresh out of fucking luck. Just fresh out of fucking luck because Nintendo's home base is in Japan, Sony's home base is in Japan, Microsoft isn't. But Microsoft is in third fucking place. Are they in third place all around? Yes, but they're also in third place here, where they should be in first fucking place. Please, Uncle Phil, for the love of God, get outside, talk to some people, go up and act like a random jerk off, and and just start shaking people's hands and talking to them and finding out what it is they want to play instead of looking at what you want to play. Because Uncle Phil, I'm going to give you a little advice. Don't nobody give a fuck what you want to play. I bought a system so I could play what I want to play, not what you do. You feel me?